I've been thinking about how peace feels when you've known chaos. This is a quiet thought I had last night and I wanted to share it. Being so at peace that it sometimes slips your mind the type of darkness you had to overcome or go through has to be one of the most surreal feelings ever. As in, it doesn't erase the past per se, but it quiets it. It quiets the past, and that is the complete opposite of chaos. Overcoming learning things the hard way, as far as teaching yourself things that others were taught. Growing up and realizing, wait, hold on, I had to teach myself these things, especially things relating to womanhood, emotional intelligence, and boundaries. Having to mature without a manual. I don't think people understand what that does to somebody mentally. I'm going to unpack that. You get to redefine womanhood, for instance. You understand that it's more than just outward appearance. It's about discernment, self-respect, resilience, knowing when to speak and when to be silent. It's something that you learn through experience, an experience that does not come with a manual. And with all that, I don't resent anyone who was taught things that I had to learn myself. Not resenting people who had more guidance. That's very important. Make sure you don't get caught up in that. For those of us that grew up hyper-independent per se, acknowledging different starting points without bitterness, understanding that, okay, this person had more of an advantage and you don't have no bitterness towards them. If anything, you choose peace over comparison and you understand that there is an advantage of being the underdog. The underdog builds character. Okay? Some people had more of an advantage, but guess what? You being the underdog, you have more depth. Depth comes from lived experiences. Depth comes from things not being handed to you. You had to go out there and get it. Do you understand? Like, it's deeper than words. There's certain things, yes, unfortunately, you shouldn't have experienced it when you experienced it. However, those experiences have shaped you to be the person that you are today. And some people can never understand that. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. However, that's neither here nor there. The experience of the underdog consists of learning things a different way, learning things quickly, or maybe learning things later. You learn by figuring it out, trial and error. You learn by watching, you learn by doing. And because of that, I think it tends to make you more observant, which I think is a good thing. Teaching yourself can look like staying up late to study, learning life skills from YouTube, from books, from mentors online, building discipline when no one's watching. It looks like talking to yourself with kindness, telling yourself, I can do this, even when the odds are against you. Trusting God, even when the path is unclear, because you know He's the one that's guiding you. A lot of that comes from seeing what you don't want to be like, seeing something that's presented to you and choosing the complete opposite. That is commendable. Acknowledge that. Let's use Ruth in the Bible for an example. Ruth was a foreign woman, a widow, no family, no support system, no social standing, and yet God used her. She didn't have a blueprint. She didn't have a mentor per se. She didn't have someone to guide her, but she had faith. She chose loyalty. She chose obedience. She chose to trust God even when the future was unclear. And because of that, she became part of God's greatest legacy. She became the great-grandmother of King David, and she was in the lineage of Jesus. So if you feel like the underdog, if you feel like you don't have no guidance, remember Ruth. Your lack of initial support, emphasis on the initial support, does not disqualify you. You will eventually get the support. You will eventually get the help. You know, it might not be how you expected it per se, but God has a way of doing things. God has a way of making things new again. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, have faith and trust God. Believe God. Believe that the right people will be around you. Believe that the right mentorship will be there. You know, you're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be. Know that. God is building you differently. I strongly believe that. coming from another underdog. But I don't want to call myself an underdog no more. But I had to, we need to use things, the correct terms for what it is. Like, but I don't want to call myself such no more. Let's say I used to be an underdog. I don't want to call myself that no more. I now say I don't really want to identify as an underdog per se, because initially I was, yeah. However, I would like to be defined by what I am becoming, who I am becoming, I should say. Yeah, I'm going to end this here. Tired.